Every year, tens of thousands of mullet return from their annual migrations here in the Sussex coast and all along the south coast of England, and in one particular river at one particular spot they gather here for one reason only, and it's not food, it's not to mate, it's for something else. Let's have a look. So this is Newhaven. This is where the mullets start their journey. I've done a few videos here on the channel, so do go and check those out. They then swim all the way up here through the town of Newhaven, past Piddinghoe, a long way. This is the River Ouse here, one of the longest rivers in the country, 57 miles I think it is. But I'll post a little picture up here for you. And then, yeah, town of Lewis, that's roughly where I am today. And here is what is awaiting me. You can see here as well, pay attention, and I'll do some freeze frames in a minute for you, but pay attention to some of these mullet. You can see they're not in the best of condition, and they've got here, look at the tops of their heads, a lot of parasites on their bodies at the minute, and leeches, and even lampreys, and that is why they're here, to bathe in the fresh water of the runoff outfall. Right, well, I've got to be careful because I'm perched up a little bit high. Tide is rising. What we got here is a load of mullet, and they're here to be cleaned. So basically they're here for their little annual delicing. Mullet, they migrate offshore, they get off to all these warmer climes out there in the open ocean. When they come back in and start pushing up the rivers, they're covered in sea lice. They've often got lampreys attached to them as well, and they come up here to this one particular spot because we've got a freshwater outfall which is pumping fresh water from a river further inland out into the river here, which is sea. So it's a seawater content, and they sit there at this outfall where it opens out, jam against the tide, and it cleans all their body of their lice, lampreys, all the rest of it, gets them all clean. And once one lot is done, they then move off and another lot comes in, and it's really interesting to see, and I'll show you now. What's really interesting here to see is they're not in that main flow, they are literally hanging around the edge here, and when they shut the sluice gates, this here goes completely brown from the river, and you don't, this is not like this all the time, but look at that, they're just sitting there, not feeding behaviour. You could put a bit of bread here, they will not take a hook at the minute, not that you can fish here, it's no fishing anyway, but they will not take a hook. This is purely a behaviour that we see here. I don't know if anywhere else has it in any of the rivers, but look at those bodies there. They're not well fished at the minute. They're undernourished, so they're really skinny, and they're covered in these parasites. And the fresh water here kills off the parasites, the leeches, everything that they've dragged in from the open ocean, and they come here and they just sit there in that tide. If you've watched mullet in the marinas and the rivers, they're normally scooting along the bottom. Here, this is not feeding behaviour. They're just here, literally. It's basically a doctor's appointment for the fish. That's all it is. And then you can see the tidal flow there, and they're just hanging here, look, at the top of the edge there, just on level with that grass. They're not beyond that, they're not in that main river, they're just hanging in that fresh water. Now, I always assume these mullet went off to the Mediterranean, that sort of area, but someone told me here from the Rivers Association in a building behind me here, I think it's the Rivers Association, they said apparently they've DNA tested some of these mullet, and they've been found to be over in Holland, so God knows where they're going, but I always assume they went down to the Medway. But wherever they are, you can see on these mullet here, and I'll do slow it down again in a minute. This is the underwater footage here from the Western Escape Cam. Yeah, they're really not well fished at the minute. Loads of bits and marks on their body. Another theory that's been offered up for these mullet and why they come here, and I assume every river along the south coast, and they hang about like this, is because mullet are a fish that tolerates both fresh water and seawater. When they come out from the open ocean, their bodies have adjusted to being in the seawater. And when they come back up the rivers and start encountering fresh water again, they have to sit there and almost get acclimatised to being back in the freshwater rivers. And their body goes through some sort of change to adjust back to this freshwater content. Now, I'm not a marine biologist, I don't know, but that's something that was offered up to me by a couple of people. They're definitely here for the lice clean, that much we do know. And I suppose the water tolerance, the change in their bodies, that does make sense. So if anyone's got anything constructive to add on that, then please do put it in the comments and let me know. Always up for learning here. But yeah, look, you can see here there is thousands. And what you will get is, as one group sort of gets all cleansed and clean of these lice and leeches, they move off downstream, upstream, and then another group will simply take its place. And like I said, they won't take a hook. This area here is no fishing as well, and you don't see it here because I've cut it out the camera footage, but every local will stop you and ask you what you are doing when you are stood by these mullet. They are a bit of a local attraction. You will get asked. I was here with a fishing rod in my hand with a camera on the end of it, and I was stopped by about 20 people over the occasions I was there, only 2 occasions, and you will get funny looks if you are there with a fishing rod. So don't attempt it. Don't go there with a cast net thinking you're going to be clever. If you do know this location as well, please don't give it away. I've done my best to not leave any signage in the videos. Yeah, so really interesting. But if you do know where it is, it's well worth going and paying a visit, because it is a real sight to see. We don't see too many occasions like this down here in the UK.